Who's the actual villain of Red Dead Redemption 2? Most people would say it's Micah, or Dutch, or even Cornwall. But no. Obviously, Micah is a villain. He ratted out the gang, tried killing, and, depending on your honor, did kill Arthur. And most of all, got in Dutch's head and manipulated him. Which really caused the downfall of the gang, and which leads me to my next possible villain, Dutch. Dutch is the gang leader, who up until Chapter 4 keeps the gang running kind of smooth. Now, it's up for interpretation, but a lot of people think he went crazy when he hit his head on the trolley. Some think it was late Chapter 5, early Chapter 6, when Micah started manipulating him. And Arthur thinks he's been crazy the whole time and he just started showing his true colors. Personally, I think he's always been crazy and he just started coming undone when Hosea died. Hosea kept him in check. He was the wise one with an actual good plan and not crazy and hot-headed like Micah or Dutch. So once he died, that set something off in Dutch. And with no angel on his shoulder, he just listens to Micah. Even in Chapter 6, Arthur tries to be the angel on Dutch's shoulder. During That's Murphy Country, where Dutch says,
"You sound like Hosea. I miss him."
Of course he loved Hosea. They've been friends for 22 years. So even when he's unraveling, he thinks of Hosea. But what I think makes him a villain is leaving his son to die on a mountain or in a burning camp, while he's coughing and wheezing and begging him to see reason. You can physically see the change in Dutch's face during this scene, when he tries to stutter out some words but Micah interrupts. And he ultimately leaves Arthur to die of either TB or to get shot in the face, get stabbed once, or get stabbed 3 times. He turns his back on both of them, turns his back on his son. The third possibility is Leviticus Cornwall. He was basically the reason for Hosea, Lenny, Mac, Davy, and Jenny's death, but most importantly, Hosea. Like I said before, Hosea was the one who kept Dutch and the whole gang in line. He was the wise one, so by Cornwall funding the Pinkertons so heavily, you could say he was responsible for the gang's downfall. Now you could say it was the Pinkertons or Milton, because he was the one actually doing these killings, although it's a hard pill to swallow. He was just doing his job. He's an officer of the law. Unlike Ross, he isn't a ruthless killer and liar behind a badge. He was just trying to, and I hate to say it, capture criminals. Or as Dutch would say,
"We are dreamers in an ever duller world."
Now the fourth possibility isn't really a possibility, even though some think it is. And that person would be Colm O'Driscoll. Now you could say Colm O'Driscoll is an actual villain, which I guess he is, but he doesn't have much of an impact on the overall story. We first hear about him in Chapter 1, and we shoot up his camp, and sure, we find Kieran, but Kieran isn't a huge impact on the story either. When we untie him and shoot up another O'Driscoll camp, Colm isn't there, so then Kieran just becomes a member of the gang, but he doesn't really do anything within the gang. Then, in Chapter 3, he arranged to meet up with Dutch and then captured Arthur, and again, I hate to say it, that wasn't much of an impact on the overall story either. It's just showing how strong Arthur is, and how much Colm hates all of them. Then, in Chapter 4, he beheads Kieran and shoots up the camp, and no one even dies except Kieran, yet Shady Belle is littered with dead O'Driscolls. Then, in Chapter 6, obviously Colm hangs because of Arthur, Dutch, and Sadie, but again, no real impact overall on the story. He's just the literal definition of a side character. He can't be a real villain if he doesn't actually do anything to impact the main story. Now this part is why I'm sure you clicked on the video. This is the true villain of the story. The character that, if you think about it, affects the entire story as a whole. And that character is Leopold Strauss. Sure, when you think about it, he's just a tiny old loan shark. Now, I'm sure when I said his name, you thought of Thomas Downs. Well, if so, then you'd be correct. It's obvious Arthur never actually liked Strauss. What he was doing wasn't right. If Strauss hadn't sent Arthur to the Downs Ranch to beat up Thomas Downs, he wouldn't have gotten TB. And if he wouldn't have gotten TB, he wouldn't have died. Now, it seems simple, but if you actually think about it more, everyone would have taken Arthur more seriously. Just imagine this scene without the coughing.
That's so, because it seems to me that since you've been riding with us, there ain't been nothing but trouble. Stirring things up all the time, getting in Dutch's ear. Seems wherever you is, there's Pinkertons and vice versa. So you better watch your goddamn mouth, boy! Or...
If the gang split up as it happened without Arthur being sick, he probably would have killed Micah. Now, I'll come back to that, but another thing we should talk about is if you're trying for a canon playthrough, which I made a video about, you gain honor as the chapters go on. Well, a big reason Arthur wanted to be a better man is that his life was put into perspective now that it would end soon. Even in this camp interaction with Mary Beth, you can see.
Well, I had some bad news.
Was it Mary?
No, not exactly. That's me. I'm sick.
Sick?
Yeah. I might die.
Oh. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Me too. Me too.
Maybe you'll get better.
I don't think so.
Then I'm sorry.
Only the thing is, since then, I've started seeing things differently. I don't know. The whole world seems different somehow.
How so?
I can't explain it. Like better, almost.
Is that a good thing?
I guess it is. Only sometimes I ain't doing the good thing.
Now, if he never gotten TB, he might have still been a bad guy. But in my opinion, I think TB or not, he would have turned good in the end. Seeing Micah being evil, seeing Dutch become unraveled, he would want to change. Which brings me back to if Arthur was healthy during the final fight. Let's say he goes up on the cliff and helps John get to safety while he holds off the Pinkertons. It would play out the same. Micah tackles him from behind, throws him off a ledge. Once they land, Arthur would eviscerate Micah. Micah is around 5'10 and 170 pounds, where Arthur is an absolute unit at 6'1 and around 189 pounds. So Arthur would have probably 20 pounds and 3 inches on Micah. But I'm going too deep, that's a whole different video. My point is, if Strauss hadn't basically given Arthur TB, then Arthur would probably live happily ever after, maybe even staying with John at Beecher's Hope. So in my opinion, Strauss is the real villain. Thanks for watching. Tell me your thoughts in the comments, and who you think the real villain is. Comment what video you think I should make next, or you can put it in my new Discord server, because there's a whole text channel for video ideas. And the link to it is in my bio. Go join, I'd love to see new people in there.